Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to the Liminal Boundaries Channel, where we're live stream. Ugh. Let me start again, because this is a live stream. Welcome to Liminal Boundaries Channel, where we are live screenwriting the Ballad of Garvin Hackett, a movie script being written completely from scratch. It's an ironic, darkly comic take on 90s action movies. Think Forrest Gump meets Scarface, directed by Sidney Lumet. So the laws of physics actually apply. Instead of going the traditional development route, I'm writing this movie live and in public, directly for you and with you, to visualize later as a visual graphic novel. So if you've got a good idea you think might improve the script, drop it in the chat and it might just make it in. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. And if you want to follow along from the beginning, check out the Liminal Boundaries channel. Link is in the description below. All right, let me welcome everyone. I do this every day, every stream. We welcome everyone. And let's pick a new emoji to have some fun with it. Oh, it's not liking that. Let's try that. There we go, get a little emoji. Oh, look, this little guy looks like he's freaking out. I'm gonna freak this guy out. It's gonna freak out. Let's see. There we go, little freak out guy. All right. I'm gonna put a little heart. Yes. All right, one day there will be people in there. All right, so today it's Right With Me, live screenwriting from scratch, Garvin Hackett, and we are on day 41. Let's see here. So day 41. Day 42, Act 1, start the debate. What is the debate? Let's talk a little bit about that before we start, so that we can have some fun with it and know what we're doing. A little context never hurts. So let's go to our outline. And as you see, you have the ordinary world where you set up your characters, and usually they have a problem. And then you have your inciting incident, which is the event that sort of rips them out of the ordinary world. So in the ordinary world, we showed the crime wave, we showed the house, right, where Garvin is having trouble relating to his mother, who wants more for him but is very aggressive about it. And he wants, his father basically is telling him he's got to figure out what he's going to do with his life. And at the same time, we get a guy preparing to kill somebody with a bomb, which is Whitey Jackson. And JR stops for a donut on the way to work. So that's the ordinary world. And then the inciting incident happens. In the inciting incident, Whitey kills JR by mistake. He's planning to blow up somebody else, but he blows up JR. And the police kick Roger, the crime reporter, out of the donut shop crime scene. And that leads him to find the wallet, JR's wallet, so he tracks down Beatrice, Garvin's mom, and he interviews her. And she's very traumatized by this interview. Meanwhile, Whitey gets arrested by cops because he didn't use a turn signal. And Garvin has a mental breakdown because of the stress of finding out that his father was killed. And he grabs a machine gun and he starts walking down the street, down his neighborhood, and the police basically run him over to stop him. So that's the inciting incident. It's the explosion and the aftermath that leads Garvin to go a little nuts. And then there's the debate. What should Garvin do in prison? Kill or do his time? So that's the implicit question. And these are the scenes in the debate that we're going to cover. We're going to start outlining them, because that's what we do here. We outline scenes. That's the process we're in right now, by the way. We're turning broad scenes that are just sort of notes like this. That's when they come in, and the output, let's take Garvin's mental breakdown, looks like this. A well-structured beat sheet of the beats in the scene. So we can expand it into screenplay very quickly, which will be pass 4. And that'll take us to what we would call a rough draft of the script, our first draft. So, with that in mind, let's look at what's in the gun run. Sorry, not in the gun run, in the debate sequence. Because the interesting thing is when you look at a scene or when you look at a structure of a whole movie, they kind of have the same structure, just at different scales. So there's a setup, there's some escalations, there's a twist, and a resolution. So if we saw that here in the inciting incident, right? You've got the setup. How are people going to react, right? What are people going to do about about JR's death, right? And you got these escalations. You got the guy who's promoting it. Not promoting it. He's broadcasting it. You've got him interviewing the mother, right? And then you've got the murderer actually getting arrested, so he's actually in custody. And then the twist is his son has a mental breakdown, and they end up arresting his son as well. So you see there's escalations about how every character sort of reacted and responded to the event, and then there's a resolution. So if we were going to do that for the debate, let's see what kind of scenes we have here. So Whitey in trouble promises to fix it is definitely the setup, right? Then Garvin gets raped in prison. Then Whitey makes Garvin an offer where he offers to train him to, protect himself and help him get revenge. And then Beatrice visits Garvin and tells him he can't come home. So Garvin would probably reject the offer at first, but when his wife tells him he has nowhere to go, he maybe changes his mind. And then Whitey trains Garvin, and then Garvin kills the rapist, the guy who raped him. And that's it. So I think is there a twist, right? What I see is there's good escalations, right? The setup is solid, right? You got to fix this. The escalations are good. Whitey makes Garvin an offer. Beatrice and Garvin tell him he can't come home. Whitey trains Garvin. That's good. I wonder if there's a twist here where Garvin... I think maybe the way he kills him, because the thing is Garvin has talent for killing. And he's never killed anybody, but he has a talent for it. And kind of like his dad, right? His dad was a Vietnam War vet. And one of the interesting aspects of his character that doesn't make it into the script, but maybe it will, is that he enjoyed killing people. And that's why he's so peaceful, in the beginning. In fact, I'm going to include that. I'm going to include that way at the bottom. In Act 3. But let me close this up. It's a cool idea that will really bring his character to life. And... actually, did I add this? I also had an idea for the murder montage. I wrote it down here. I cheated. Because I'm supposed to write the whole script here. But I wrote the murder montage. I wrote a note. Yes. So let me just first put in that bit about JR. There's so many good scenes here. I can't wait to get to them. So they're so fun. So I got the complications. Okay. This just makes it a little bit more manageable. There it is. Okay. Whew. So Act 3. We got the race to the goal. Let's see. Is it in here? No. Okay. It's midpoint. It's going to be here. It's going to be the Dark Night of the Soul. Garvin discovers JR's legacy. JR's diary. I am scared. Not because of my life. Fear for my life. I am scared because killing comes easy to me. To me. And maybe we can put something like, you know, I'll put it in quotes. Don't judge. What God has given you. Maybe I can put my talent to use. To right some wrongs in the world. There you go. That's kind of a cool idea. Maybe it's a prayer. Maybe this is a prayer. I like this character. JR. Kind of like one of my favorite characters. There's going to be some porn in there too. There's gotta be. It'd be really funny if Tammy Lynn was in it. That would be funny. That's really funny. Okay, where are we going? So we're back. There's another bit that I wanted to put in here. Let's see. I think the Tammy Lynn thing might be a little rich, but it would be funny. Funny coincidence. Okay. Yes, we were talking about... Okay, so here's the idea I had. I had this idea where Garvin, the murder sequence, each murder and the way he commits the murder is actually an exemplary murder, or an exemplary situation where you would have to use a lesson from ancient wisdom. So I don't know what those lessons are yet, but I've got the murders, so it's just a question of how the scene plays out. That it would be like Machiavelli, right? In Machiavelli, you align with people and then you turn on them. And when you're fighting a stronger force, you align and then you turn on them. That's actually the whole, not really the whole movie because it got betrayed. But so yeah, it wouldn't be Machiavelli though, because that's not the ancient wisdom. The ancient wisdom would be more art of war type stuff that I'd have to look up, but I think there's a thread that I want to pull on there, so I'm going to put it in. So in the midpoint, it's going to be Act 2, so close out the midpoint, because the murder sequence is in Act 2, and it's the murder montage. Okay. All right, and I'm gonna put note here. See if you can make each murder an example of the lessons of ancient wisdom. Maybe of war. Look this up. I think there's something good here. So Garvin has a natural talent for this stuff. Okay, so that's done. So let's put the inciting incident behind us, and now we will talk about we don't really have a twist, do we? Like, he trains Garvin. Oh, well, we know the twist is Garvin is really good at it. Killing. You have a talent, says Whitey. And then the resolution is Garvin, kill the inmate. Okay. Cool. So yeah, there is a twist, is that Garvin's really good at it. And that needs to be acknowledged. So that's going to be in the Whitey trains Garvin. And here there's a twist. Garvin is really good at killing. Cool. So we don't need to keep this up here. It's inherent in the story, in the structure. But I wanted to share it with you guys, both as a review to me, so you could see, and then as a way to. I should keep it in here, but it's kind of self-explanatory. So let's get our setup going. So Whitey in trouble, promises to fix it. Whitey makes a pin call. He's in trouble with Joel for mucking up the hit, and now he's in prison. The Vanta gang is exposed. Yeah. He was on Panic Room. They call him Mambro. Oh, that's pretty funny. He's Garvin processed into prison. Okay, I gotta research. This is something I have to do to research. Research the processing of a new prison inmate. What exactly do they do to... Maybe I can call a friend. All right. So let's see. It's funny, my dad did time. I never really asked him about the details, though. I get a feeling he wasn't so happy talking about it. Oh, I miss my dad. All right. So let's do this. So let's get it set up. Setup. Escalation. Twist. Resolution. Okay, we got it. Who's in the scene? We got Whitey. He makes one decision. He makes two decisions. He makes three decisions. He makes four decisions. So Whitey. We got Garvin. He makes one decision. He makes two decisions. Makes three decisions. He makes four decisions. And now we got his rapist. I don't even know the guy's name. This is like a blank slate, this character. But we'll fill him in later. We don't have to know everything up front. Okay, he's going to be noticing Garvin. And let's see who else. There's a lot of people in this scene, actually. Let's see. And then there's the lawyer. Okay. And I think that's it. I'm sure they watch Panic Room. Okay. So the setup is Whitey is in bad graces with Vanta. And one of the escalations is, I mean, it's really a question of whether he would be talking candidly or not. Yeah, but the problem hasn't been solved. Well, you left the job, right? You walked off in the middle of the job. You had work to do. And then there are problems coming, and we have to figure out a solution. Waiting isn't really an option. And there are consequences to leaving a job unfinished. We have to figure out a solution. Before the problem comes back. Bite us. Okay. And maybe he asks for some, to pull some levers. Right? And then the twist. And that's when Garvin walks in. Lawyer changes the panic room. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The dialogue scene. Garvin walks in. And the resolution. Call him man, bro. And then the resolution. Whitey hangs the phone up. That's it. So what? Let's see. Whitey calls his lawyer. Tells him to tell his boss he didn't mean to get arrested. Oh, yeah, he called him sloppy. You left a mess. Okay. Yeah. Pull some strings so I can fix it. Hangs up the phone. Okay. Asks for help and gives up. So Garvin. Yeah. Smiles at the applause and recognition. Man, bro. And he complies. Guards. To see. Complies with prisoners. Then, yeah, he gets the applause and recognition, man, bro, and then someone gives him a gift. Someone gives him a gift, and what you know in prison is when they give you a gift, you gotta pay it back. Let's see. And the guy, he gives him the gifts. He accepts the gift. The gift from R. I don't know who R is yet, but yeah. R. He bullies Garvin. I gotta figure out what he's gonna do to him. But we know he's gonna bully him. Just seeing these research to get the details, but it's good. We get the dramatic beats here. He bullies Garvin, and then he recognizes Garvin. And then he gives Garvin a gift. Okay. And then maybe pushes another inmate off Garvin. I think he's mine. Right. Let's see, the lawyer. We've already got the lawyer's decisions. Things up on a Whitey. Answers the phone. Talks about work responsibility. And parole violations. And change the subject to panic room. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So we got it. Let's move it around. Move. So let's start with some of this. So let's start with the pin call. Like that. Doom setup. Where is it? Say, Whitey makes a pin call. Let's see, Whitey's in trouble. Okay. They always get you when you're on vacation. Oh yeah, I like that. People always go on vacation. Oh, well, he's not going to hang up on him. He's going to change the subject. So I'm going to go better, just tighter. Everything goes wrong. Okay. Okay. So I don't think we're going to hear Joel Gillette's voice actually here. That's funny. He was in panic room. They recognize him. Okay. Yep. Okay, so Whitey sees Garvin getting processed into prison. So the layout, right, with the bank of phones, you can see the holding cell with a bunch of people in it. I don't know if that's the way prisons are really laid out. I have to look into that. But for the sake of the movie, you want to do that. How are we doing? Cool. Let's see. Got a text. Let me just check it real quick. All right. Let's see. I kind of like the idea of hearing Joel's voice, but you just hear it in the background. Yeah, we just hear it in the background. Okay. So let's bring these in. So let's see. The first thing he does is he hangs up the phone. Yep. Okay. And then he pulls some strings so I can fix it. And yeah, I gotta move that, but and then here. Let's see. Tell his boss he didn't mean to get arrested. Okay. Makes a ping call, calls his lawyer. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about work responsibility and parole violations. Yep. And he answers the phone. Okay. And let's see. Ballad Garvin. Let's see. He gives Garvin a gift. Where is that? Where are we going to put that? Yep. So let's see. Garvin walks in to the cell, to the holding cell. Group cell. Recognizes Garvin. They call him Mambro. Okay. And then he accepts the gift. That's okay. Welcome to the muck. Okay. Okay. What to say? Okay. All right, so Whitey makes a pin call, calls his lawyer. Lawyer answers the phone. You know, what can we do about my case? This case. And then talk about the work responsibility and parole violations. Let's see. Yep. We don't need the consequences. That's off. Oh, that's enough, right? Tells him his boss didn't mean to go. Is it to figure out a solution for the problems? Waiting isn't really an option. You can't just leave your work responsibilities. They have a way of coming back to bite you. They come back to bite. Ask him to pull some levers. And lawyer changes its subject pentagram. Yep. There it is. So Garvin walks into the group cell. He complies with the guards, the bullies. Welcome to the muck. The bullies Garvin. You can sit here. You can sit down. You can take my book. You can sit here. Think like a dark Forrest Gump. And that's the gifts. Garvin sits. So like this. Whitey hangs up the phone. That's a cool scene. Okay. So we got a nice scene here, guys. So let's see. So it sets up, Whitey makes a pin call, he calls his lawyer, asks what he can do about his case. The lawyer answers the phone. Right, so we don't need the... This is when we first hear Joe Gillette's voice, which is heard in the background in French. Escalation. Talks about work responsibility and parole violations. You walked in the middle of a job, you had work to do, you were sloppy, you left a mess. Whitey sees Garvin getting processed into prison. Tell him to tell his boss he didn't mean to get arrested. That's what Whitey says to the lawyer. Waiting isn't really an option. People always go on vacation. It's just when they leave a job half finished. Professional. Causes problems. Okay. Pull some strings so I can get out. Maybe I can fix it. He changes the phone. He changes the subject to panic room. Great episodes. And then some guy got blown up. Some poor Methodist got blown up. Crime is going out of control. Then his kid started walking down the street with a machine gun. Screaming revenge. The city is out of control. Dressed like man, bro. This is great. Garvin walks into the group cell. Welcome to the muck. You're welcome to the muck. And then prisoners. No, that's my seat. That's my seat. He tries again. Yeah, you can sit. Nice. Okay. It's a good scene. It's nice and set up. Still some holes here and there, but much better than it was when we started. All right. Okay. So that's Whitey in trouble, promises to fix it. And then the shower scene. And then, yeah, just Garvin's talking. Everyone is smiling because they know what's coming. R is egging him on. Yeah, but then he assaults him. Boom. It's pretty straightforward. But I think we will leave it for the next one because we've been going for about an hour. I think we'll go tomorrow. We'll get into this dark scene. It's already taking some nice shape here. I will just leave it. My little format here, my little scaffold. And you know we need Garvin. And you know we need, and we know at some point the guards leave. Let's see. Okay. So it's gonna be fun, man. He keeps talking. He stops fighting back. Yeah. No, he fights back and he stops fighting back. Yeah, he fights back. Yep. Talks. box more. Kenshi Fantasy. What's he gonna do? Girl. This isn't great. Yeah, that's better. Right. So I got something there. Could it be more than one guy? Maybe it's more than one guy. Maybe they run a train on him. That's even worse. All right. So I'm not going to put it together, but we're very close on this scene. This has turned out to be a better scene than I thought it would be. We gotta figure out the offer scene. Oh my god, this is funny. I got an idea. Oh my god, that's so funny. So basically, after he's been raped and he's traumatized, Whitey offers him a a job. And Garvin says he'll think about it. And then he says, now suck me. Garvin's freaking out. I'm just kidding. Think about it. All right. You got time to think. Your boyfriend. All right. That's pretty funny. All right, guys. I think that's good for tonight. If I think we got this scene. It's like coming. We see the shape of it. What's gonna come, and let me just put it together. It's already almost done. Let's see. It was a pretty straightforward scene, so that was easy. Yeah. Okay. So I'll leave it at that. Boom. Next scene is Whitey makes Garvin an offer. All right, so I think that's good. This is a good stopping point. That's two scenes. And the next time we'll do 3 and 4. Beatrice comes to... Oh, and the revenge scene. Maybe we can get to the revenge scene. That's going to be fun. Yep. Okay. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys, if you made it this far. Will join us next time when we go over Whitey makes Garvin an offer. And we'll see how Garvin reacts. All right. Yeah. If you made it this far, thank you. And I will catch you on the other side. All right. That's it for today's stream. So if you want to apply the tools I use here to your own work, I put together something special for you. Right next to me on the screen, you'll see a QR code for my screenwriting masterclass. As someone who fixes stories for a living, I can't afford writer's block, and neither should you. So I took the exact tools working writers use to make bulletproof narratives and packed them into this premium video course. It doesn't matter if you're writing screenplays, novels, comics, TV, or games. This works for any narrative story. You'll get full scene-by-scene breakdowns of famous films, hands-on guidance, and the exact system to ensure you never stare at a blank page again. It's $47, and a portion of every sale goes directly to support emerging artists through the Arts Accelerator nonprofit. If you're serious about mastering the craft, pull out your phone, scan the QR code right here, or hit the link in the description below. Get it now, and I'll see you on the next stream.